Types of triangles notes. First, let's look at the notes. There are three types of triangles. The first one is an acute triangle. An acute triangle has three angles that are less than 90 degrees. And by angles, we mean the corners that are inside the triangle. All three of the corners or angles inside the triangle are less than 90 degrees. There are a few different ways that the triangles can look, and here are some examples. But all of them have angles that are smaller than 90 degrees. The next triangle is a right triangle. A right triangle has one 90-degree angle. You will notice that there are squares or boxes in the corners that show you that they're 90 degrees, and there are only one of these angles in each of the triangles, and this makes it a right triangle. The last triangle is an obtuse triangle. An obtuse triangle has one angle that is bigger or greater than 90 degrees. So if you look at this triangle here, it is bigger than 90 degrees. And over here, bigger than 90 degrees. Only one of them has to be bigger than 90 degrees to make it obtuse. The next three triangles we're going to talk about have to do with the length of the sides of the triangles. The first three had to do with the angles. A scalene triangle has 0 congruent sides, and congruent means equal. You can notice that down at the bottom triangle, you have a side that is 3, a side that is 4, and a side that is 5. They are all different lengths. And up at the top, you see one little hash mark, 2 together, and 3 together. That shows you that none of the sides are equal, so they are scalene triangles. The next triangle is an isosceles triangle. This has 2 congruent sides, or 2 sides are equal. On the triangle on the right, you will see that there's a 5 centimeter side and another 5 centimeter side, and then at the bottom it's 4 centimeters. You see 2 of them are equal, and that makes it isosceles. On the left-hand side, you see that there is a hash mark on one side and a hash mark on the other side to show you that that means they are equal sides. And the last triangle is an equilateral triangle. All 3 sides are congruent or equal. You will see down at the bottom that you have 3 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and 3 centimeters. All the sides are equal. And there is one hash mark that is on each of the lines for the sides, and that shows that they are all equal. So an equilateral means all 3 sides are equal. It's even almost in the name, equal. And finally, it's really important for you to know this so that you'd be able to find the measures of each angle. The sum of the measures of the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. So remember that all triangles have 3 sides, which means they have 3 angles, and all 3 of those angles are going to equal 180 degrees. No matter what size the triangle is or how big the angles are, they all add up to 180 degrees, and that will help you find out what the measures of each angle are. Now let's look at some examples. Find the missing angle measure, then classify the triangle by its angles and sides. So again, the important thing to know is that all 3 sides are going to add up to 180 degrees. So when you look at the 2 sides that we know, 30 and 60, if you add them together, they're 90 degrees, which means that you just subtract this number from 180 degrees to find out the last angle measure, and you'll find out that it's 90 degrees. So this triangle is made up of angles of 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. Well, this is easy to classify because we see that one of the angle measures is 90 degrees, and that means that it is a right triangle. Now that we've classified it by its angles, let's look at the sides. You have a 30 degree, a 60 degree, and a 90 degree angle. That means all of the sides are going to be different as well. If you had angles that were the same, like a 30 degree and a 30 degree, then you would know that there are 2 sides the same. But since all 3 numbers are different, this means that it is a scalene triangle. So the right triangle classifies it by the angles, and a scalene triangle classifies it by the sides. B, 40 degrees and 20 degrees. Again, remember that all three angles will add up to 180 degrees. So if we add 40 and 20, we get 60 degrees, and we subtract this from 180. That gives us 120 degrees. So we know our last angle measure is 120 degrees. To classify it by its angles, you can see that there is a 120 degree angle, and that is greater than 90 degrees. And when you have one angle that's greater than 90 degrees, that means that it is an obtuse triangle. Now to classify it by its sides, we have a 40, a 20, and a 120. So again, because none of them are equal, that means none of the sides are equal, and so it would be scalene. C, 85 degrees and 45 degrees. Again, all three add up to 180 degrees. So if you add 85 and 45, you will get 130 degrees. If you subtract that from 180, you get 50 degrees. So the last angle is 50 degrees. 85, 45, and 50 degrees are all less than 90 degrees, which makes it an acute triangle. When you look at the sides, you have an 85, a 45, and a 50. None of them are the same, so none of the sides are the same, so that means that this is also a scalene triangle. Now check out this figure. You have an angle that's 103 degrees and an angle that's 44 degrees, and we need to find out what the last angle is. Remember that they all should add up to 180 degrees. So if you add 103 and 44, you will get 147 degrees. So you subtract this from 180. And this gives you 33 degrees. So we know the last angle is 33 degrees. To classify it by its angles, you would look at 33 degrees, 44 degrees, and 103 degrees. We have one that is greater than 90 degrees, so that means that this is an obtuse triangle. When you look at the sides, all the angles are different, so all the sides would be different, so this would also be a scalene triangle. Now look at this triangle. We're only given one angle measure, which is 40 degrees, and we know that all three should add up to 180 degrees. But if you also notice, there is a hash mark on one side and a hash mark on the other side. That means that these two sides are the same, which means that the angles that are opposite of them will also be the same. So the way that we can find this out is we can subtract 40 from 180 and we get 140. And if we divide this by 2, because both of these angles are going to be the same, if we divide by 2, we'll get 70 degrees. So each of these angles would be 70 degrees. So you have a 70 degree, and a 40 degree, all adding up to 180. Because the angles are 70, 70, and 40, all three of them are less than 90, it makes it an acute triangle. And because there are two sides that are the same or equal or congruent, that means that it is an isosceles triangle. And finally, look at the last one. We have a 53 degree angle, and we have a box which shows us that that is 90 degrees. Again, all three of these should add up to 180 degrees. So if you add the 90 and the 53 together, you'll get 143. Subtract that from 180 to find the last angle measure, and you will get 37 degrees. Since you have one right angle, that means that it is a right triangle. And your sides are all different because you have a 37 degree angle, 53, and a 90 degree angle, and they're all different. So this makes this a scalene triangle.